Today's episode is a very real and powerful conversation. I'm joined by Maguen Wilhelm, my mentor, who shares her personal story of navigating grief, divorce, and one of the hardest seasons of her life. We talk about what it looks like when life falls apart, how to take the first small steps forward, and how to keep showing up for your children even when you are the one who needs support. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or like getting out of bed feels impossible, this conversation is for you. Now let's dive into this beautiful conversation. Hey Mama, welcome to Building Yourself with Grace, the podcast for Christian moms growing in faith, mindset, and motherhood, one grace-filled step at a time. I'm your host, Jenna Azera, a faith-filled mom just like you, walking through the beautiful, holy, and messy in-betweens of motherhood. I know what it feels like to feel overwhelmed, weighed down by mom guilt, and stretched thin trying to do it all. As I go through life, I've learned this. With God's grace, we don't have to chase perfection. We can renew our minds, find strength in Christ, and grow into the women He is calling us to be. Here you'll find honest conversations, encouragement, and practical tools to help you build your life from the inside out. So grab your favorite drink, take a deep breath, and let's start building yourself with grace. Before we keep going, I want to speak to the moms who are feeling like it's a heavy season right now. The ones that keep replaying the day in their head, the ones that carrying the guilt of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas that never seem to turn off or end. I'm exploring a free online workshop to help moms just like you understand their thought processes and cycles, learn how to release the shame and fear tied to those thoughts, and if that resonates with you, there's a short survey in the show notes below where you can share your interests and select a day and a time that works best for you. I truly want to help you there as a mom who is working so hard, become the best moms and the best person possible for your family. And I know that I can help you through this workshop and want to bless you. And so let's get back to today's episode. Hello, and welcome to Building Yourself with Grace. I'm your host, Jen Azera, and today I have a very special guest with me today. She is one of my mentors named Maguen Wilhelm, and she is going to share her heartfelt story with you today. Maguen, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. This is a little bit of what she wrote about herself. She wrote that I was married for 15 years with 5 children. I lived with my brother and his wife for 4 years. I remarried and had a baby, and my husband passed when our little one was 12 months old. I know the hard, I have lived the hard, and have been through the harder, and now I help you get through the hard. And so I'm so excited she's with you today. She is a coach herself, and she's my coach as well on helping me become amazing coach for you, amazing moms. And so I'm so excited to have her share her story. So Maguen, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you want to start on your journey.
Yeah. I kind of found myself a single mom with 5 children, no work experience, no money to my name. Um, and I had a 3-month-old to, I think, 13, 14, like eighth grade age, for wide span of children. And then I had to figure out what was next. And my body, I had a lot of physical elements that I needed to get help with, but just medically. I needed to get medical help and just I was lost. I had no idea what to do. I had nowhere to live. Like you mentioned, I lived with my brother and his wife for 4 years. The first year of that, they were the parents to my children pretty much because I was going through a divorce and going through all what that entails emotionally, but also physically. I was just physically not doing very well. And And then once I started getting better and I was healing a little bit more, um, I met my husband. We met at a singles church singles like get together. And then, well, apparently I accidentally sat next to him because the group of friends that I was with, there was no more room in the pew to sit. And so I sat behind them and I was like the only one sitting there. And so he always said he doesn't believe in coincidences, and that he said that that was like predetermined, that there would be no seats in that pew in front of him. And so I would have to sit. I was forced to sit next to him. Because I always said that if I would get remarried, if I ever did get remarried, God would have to like pound like a pan over my head. Like he would really have to pound me. Like God did that quite a bit actually. He was like, "Nope, this is the guy. Nope, this is the guy." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so. Didn't you remember our plan that I made before that said I was never going to get remarried?" And so he had a different plan. So and then we got married, we blended families. He has 2 children and I had 5. And then shortly after that, we got pregnant with our little one. So it's kind of a whirlwind, roller coaster kind of a thing. There was a lot that happened at once that I was not um prepared for. I like to be comfortable. I'm like I were like and there was other plans. There was other plans for me. And it was not comfortable whatsoever. Um, and so after his passing, I was a single mom again. Um, this time financially a little bit better. Um, financially, but still there was just that hard of my husband passed away. I have a 12-month-old. I'm still nursing my 12-month-old. And 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 then I have my children, the 5 from the previous marriage, like that was their dad. They considered him dad. They called him dad. And so just going through their grief and helping them with their grief and with my grief. Um, and at that time, I wouldn't let anybody in. I felt like that was the only way I could quote unquote really protect myself, is just not letting anyone in to help me. And that was the worst thing I did. The worst thing I did was not allowing anyone in because I was in pain. I was I was hurting myself from losing my husband and not knowing what was next, where we would end up or anything like that. Because I just replayed the stories over and over again from the previous time that I was a single, and so those stories were hard to get out of my mind, and just not allowing anybody in to help. I think that was the worst thing that I did at the time. And then finally things just got so hard and so bad that I called out for help. And it was interesting. I remember I was going grocery shopping and I had one of those infant carriers with a toddler in tow. And we were at the grocery store. The baby was crying because she didn't want to be in her carrier. And the toddler wanted something from the store that I was like, no, you can't have that. We're not here for that. And so they were both crying. And I It was not a peaceful time at that moment, and I just had this peaceful, like, this peace just come over me, and I just felt like everything's gonna be okay. It will be okay, and you'll get through this, and I was like, "Do you not see these children screaming right here? And I need to get groceries, and they're screaming, and people are looking at me, probably just, that whole story that goes into your head." And I felt peace, like undeniable peace, that it was going to be okay and I was going to get some help. And then right after that, someone called me and he was like, "We have a scholarship for you." And it was a coaching program, and we can start like as soon as you need to. And I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, let's do this. And I told him just like what just happened. And I told him that, and he's like, wow, yeah, because he's like, honestly, you were on my list, but I was not going to call you. And that morning, it just kept coming to him over and over and over and over again. He's like, to call me, to call her. She's like, he was just like, I had to call her, but he was just like, that doesn't make sense. She just brushed me off. She said it wasn't time. And just he could not brush off the feeling himself. And he called at that exact moment of when I just felt that peace, undeniable peace in a very non-peaceful time. And I knew, I was like, okay, I have to open up. I have to get the help so I can open up, because I have a very unique story. Not very many people have gone through what I have gone through. And I need to help people, but I can't help people and I can't go and tell my story when I'm not healed myself, or at least being on that journey. I don't know if I'm going to fully heal, but I'm on the journey for towards healing. And I'm so grateful for that, because now I'm at a place where I can tell my story and I can talk to women and or men, and I can relate. Even yesterday someone was talking to me, I'm like, that's hard. What you're going through is really hard. And she brushed it off and I'm like, no, it's hard. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, now what do I do? I'm like, you keep moving forward and you go to work. and so but just like realizing and accepting there is hard, but you can heal from it and you could keep moving on. And part of my coaching is how to get out of bed. How do you get out of bed in the morning? And the backstory with that was, I was telling someone, I was really opening up and sharing just completely of my story. And probably one of the first times that I just laid out my story all at once and not bits and pieces. And she was like, "Oh my goodness, Megan, how do you wake up in the morning? Like seriously, how do you get out of bed?" And she's like, "Your life, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse." And if you think about it, yeah, it got worse and worse and worse. And I remember thinking, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I thought it was getting better. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe it is just getting worse and worse." So I texted a friend and I was like, and I told her what happened. I'm like, "Maybe it is bad." And she's like, and she replied back and she's like, "Megan, it's called healing. You're healing." And I was like, oh, I never thought about that. I'm healing. Yeah, my story, it's really bad and it's hard. But but there was just times where I didn't feel that. I didn't feel the burden. And there were times, yes, I definitely felt that. Like, I can't get out of bed this morning. How do I get out of bed this morning? And I've been there, the first thing of when I went um through my divorce, it was just like my goal was to wake up, like actually physically open my eyes. And that's where that was, I hit rock bottom. And that was my first thing. I opened my eyes, I checked that off, and then I got out of bed and I got dressed for the day. So I looked at least somewhat presentable. And and I made my bed. And I'm like, okay, from there, we'll see what happens from there. And when my husband passed, I did kind of the same thing. And I mean, well, I had babies at both times when I was going through my divorce and when my husband passed away. I had little ones that still needed mommy and relied on me for getting them food and providing everything for them, literally everything. And so that also helped me, like, I have to get up for them. And but how do I show up? How do I show up for the older kids who are struggling when I'm struggling myself? And part of that was just opening up and getting the help and realizing that there's so many people out there that are so willing to help you. And maybe they may not have everything that you need, but it's a step forward. And um I remember calling a friend one day and I'm just like, I was just crying. I'm like, I don't know what to do. My husband just passed away. Like, I felt overwhelmed. What am I going to do? I'm overwhelmed. And she's like, get a pad of paper and a pen and write down the list, what you need to do. Get it out on paper and take a picture of it and send it to me. And she's like, okay, the things that are broken, I know who can come to help you fix that. And so that was really nice. And then she just came over and just helped me get my house back in order. And and sometimes it's not like the huge big things. Sometimes it is just the small little things that actually had the biggest impact. And her helping me just get my house back in order and then just helping me like make a meal plan because I still could go grocery shopping and do all that stuff, but it was just like, oh, I have to like plan meals. I have to do like I had to feed these six children. And and she sat down with me and we wrote out a menu plan for the week and a grocery list for the week. And she helped me get my house back in order and we did it together and it was fun to have someone to talk to. And if I needed to talk about just a heavier thing of how I was feeling, I could, or it could just be just light and fun and silly and we could just have a fun time. And so when people ask me like how can I help people um who just who has a loss, I like do something small. Um just we're sorry for your loss and what's on your list? What's on your to-do list that needs to be done and take it. And just be like, okay, I'll take that one. You don't have to worry about that. I'll take that off your list. And to me, that was the best thing. And it may seem small, but it's the small things that are the biggest things.
I totally agree with that, that the smallest things that people do for you can have a
Mhm.
bigger impact than you ever realize. And man, Megan, your story just my heart. Like I can't imagine like divorce is already a hard thing to even go through and then to lose another wonderful spouse. For someone who really does struggle with not knowing what the future looks like, what is something that you wish you could tell yourself in the past when you went through you went through your divorce and then you lost your husband? For anyone who's not even sure what the next step's going to look like, what that day is going to look like. It's a very scary
Mhm.
time for them.
It is. It is scary. And I think the first thing is realizing that, realizing it is scary and getting the right people in your life, knowing the right people who know people, even like people will come into your life to help you. And the how is not your business. The how is not your business. And someone told me that one time. I'm like, yes, the how's not my business. The how is for a greater power than me. And allowing and opening up was a hard it was really hard for me to open up to people and ask for help. And that right there is a trial all on its own. Um is to open up. So I think the first thing that I did was ask for help and knowing the right people and accepting like some people can't help and it's okay and realizing it's okay and it's not about you. And then there's going to be some amazing people that just somehow show up in your life and you're just like, wow, that's what I needed. I needed that person to show up in my life. And like I needed my friend to show up when she did at my door of just like, I'm here to help you. And I remember a time when I was going through my divorce and a friend came and knocked on my door and said, I'm here to help you fold laundry. And she's like, I know you have laundry that's not folded, and that's why I'm here. I'm just gonna, I have 30 minutes, and that's what we did for 30 minutes. Is she helped me fold clothes and put away clothes. And like I said, it's the little things. And so I think the first step is to and opening up for help and realizing people are going to just kind of not, there's some that's not going to be able to help, and it's okay. But there's going to be people who can help. And then I changed my story of how I view my story. Like I said, I my story is hard. It is difficult. But my day-to-day story, I love my life. I love who I'm becoming. I love my home. I love the people that I'm around. Oh my goodness, I love them so, so deeply and so much. And I was a dancer. Growing up, I danced and I got back into dancing, which is amazing. And I found a studio and an owner who allows adults to dance and to take the classes. And again, I didn't know the how. I put it out there in the universe, like, I would like this, and it shows up. And so, and so I think I changed my story. I got help. First, I got help. I asked for help. I let people into my heart. And then I I changed my story because I really do love my life. I have an amazing friendships. I have an amazing family, brothers and sisters, and I have wonderful kids, and I'm so very, very much blessed. And I mean, I can't describe how blessed I am and how many miracles that I see throughout the day. Every single day, there's a mini miracle, and I'm just like, thank you for watching over me on that one. Or just thank you, just like, wow, I got through the day somehow. Like all this, all this got done somehow. And just realizing like what you tell yourself. What are the things that you tell yourself? What is your story and what are you believing?
I absolutely, yeah, with that. And like, how do you change the story you tell yourself, especially when it feels like you're not wanted through a divorce and then you lose someone you love through a death of a spouse. How do you not let that story or that message narrative you tell yourself get in the way of you progressing into a happier future and a better future?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I did so, will sound very simple. I wrote it out. I got a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, and I handwritten news story as if that was actually happening. It wasn't at the time. That it was not true at the time. But I wrote a news story and it was about half a page to a page long. And I read it every single morning when I woke up, and I read it every single night to help me change my mindset. And then I put pictures of what was on the story and I put pictures to it. And sometimes I hand drew it or I just went online and found something that would match what I wrote. And so I need things very aesthetically pleasing to me. And so I did a very nice handwriting. I wrote it out. I got some really pretty paper and pictures all around it, and I put it on my mirror. So every single morning when I woke up, I saw it, and before bed, I saw it. And I just would stare at it. At first, I would just look at it like you're brushing your teeth, you're getting ready for your day, and I just look at it. And same thing for a night. And then I started saying it out loud, and that helped. Just change the narrative, even if it's not true yet.
No, there's something about that the power of other, especially the night, like right before you go to sleep, watching or seeing something new. That's actually what I've done. I've with AI, I created a little video of what I wanted to become or what I would love to happen, kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense. Like for example, one of them is being a present mom with my daughter. And it's amazing how subconsciously you do that. And I love that you talk about that because it's so important that we tell ourselves what can happen, what our life can look like. And I think that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to look to the future. He wants us to renew our minds and come closer to Him and find ourselves through Him that way. And so, one question I do have is kind of like you mentioned earlier, like how, like when you try to get out of bed and you're trying to be present for your kids, but that's so hard. It's like I'm not gonna lie, I've had some mornings where I've been so depressed and in a dark place myself that I didn't want to get out of bed. That's the last thing I want to do is take care of my daughter. So, what is advice as a mom who's been through very difficult things like that of when it's okay to be there present with your kids, when it's okay to ask for help, or what to do when you can't get that help?
Yeah, that's really good because it's going to yeah. When I was going through my divorce, I my brother and his wife pretty much raised my children for that first year. I trusted them fully. Um, was I there? Yes. Of course I was there. They were just kind of like the backup if I couldn't. Um, but I understand like not everyone has that. With my when my husband passed away, um, oh, honestly I prayed. There was there was absolutely nothing that would get me out of bed because after my husband passed, I just felt that my heart was broken into a million pieces and it bursted open. And I felt at the time like you can't heal that. And here I have babies and teenagers that want to talk to mom or need need help because they're teenagers and they're going through a hard time. And so first of all, just pray. Like there was nothing that was going to get me out of bed. And then by somehow that little tender mercy of feeling a push would get me out of bed. And after the prayer to get me going. And then I had one thing that I wanted to do that day that would make me get out of bed. But I think what helped was I had rules for myself. I went back to be like, okay, I have 3 rules for myself. I was going to get out of bed and I was going to change into like day clothes. And then when I went to bed, I was going to change into pajamas. What I wore to bed is not what I wear during the day, and vice versa. And it may seem small, but that helped. It helped me, I think, mentally and just maybe being able to see, like, okay, now it's daytime, now it's nighttime. And of doing that, um, I think a lot of it too was I pushed myself out of bed. I crawled out of bed and it just had to be done. So I did it. I just gritted my teeth and went forward. And honestly, I don't know. Like, I think maybe just go slower that day too. And it's okay to go slow. And sometimes there were days that we just we watched movies and I held them and we were sitting on the couch. And it's okay. It's okay to have a slow day. It's okay to cancel everything. It's okay to after my husband passed away, I took my kids out of every single extracurricular activity. And it was okay. They survived it. It was fine. It was for a short time and they were fine. Um and then now like they talk about that time. They're like, "Oh, remember?" I'm like, "Oh, that was like a really bad time for me." And they were just like they saw it as mom being more present than me not. Because in my head, I was not present for my kids because I couldn't even drive them to their extracurricular activities and how horrible of a mom I was because I took them out of everything. And then now they're like, oh, that was like really special time that we had as a family. And we we had like Wednesday, we celebrated. I made a cake and we celebrated Wednesday because it was Wednesday. And that was it. And Friday was pizza night because that seemed kind of obvious and I didn't want to cook. And each day had like its own fun theme. And and that really helped. And just we did something, having some aspect of fun, to something to look forward to, and being and allowing yourself to slow down.
I think we have as moms have to have a lot of grace on those slow days because I think especially in just society, women just feel like they have to feel busy to be successful. And it's so beautiful that your kids looked at that time not as like, you took me out of my curriculars to, I got to spend time with you. And I think that's such a God-given grace for you as a mom. And honestly, I feel like a lot of our kids may feel that way, like I could care less that you're so busy. I just want to be with you, and I love that. I think that's so beautiful. And it's just so wonderful to know that God is in the details and finding the fun in every day. That's such a fun, like honestly, making a cake for Wednesday. That just sounds like a great idea. That makes me
It
want to.
was
It's
so
Wednesday
much
today,
fun.
so I might as well make a cake today.
Exactly. And there's a lot of different kinds of cakes.
And thank
Each
goodness it's
Wednesday
box
was like
cakes.
a different kind of cake. And it was like a carrot cake. It was this kind of cake. It was an upside down cake. It was a bundt cake. There's a lot of different cakes.
Oh my gosh, cake day, cake
Cake
day.
day, because it's Wednesday. So let's
Oh my
celebrate Wednesday.
I just think that's beautiful because yeah, like when we're going through a very dark time and like I remember those mornings, there's just I had no motivation and I remember the only thing that really got me, like I mean, I was still in bed technically, but the only thing I was wanting to ever do was just read The Help. And that's what I did almost the whole day. Besides tending to baby girl here and there, I just read The Help and that's what I needed that day. And it was okay to have that slow day that I needed. And I think as moms, it's okay to give yourself that permission just to have that slow day and be present with your kids or just being present with yourself and just be home. And I know that can be really hard in the moment. And I know that you can attest to that. But at least for me, I personally have seen that when I give myself that grace that I need to heal, and that's okay. Megan's story is incredibly powerful, and in my next episode, we continue our conversation by talking about what rebuilding looks like after divorce. Emotionally, financially, and as a mom, if anything from Megan's story resonated with you today, I invite you to come back next week as we talk about what those next steps forward can look like after one of life's hardest seasons. Until next time, remember that God loves you, He sees you, and He is truly a prayer away. And to keep building yourself with grace. I'll see you next week. Take care and God bless. Did today's episode encourage you or give you something new to think about? If it did, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and share this with another mama who could use a little grace and encouragement today. I can't do this without you, and I'm so grateful for the chance to walk alongside you in the divine chaos that motherhood brings. I want you to remember this, mama. God loves you. He sees you, and He is only a prayer away. God bless you, and I'll see you next time on Building Yourself with Grace.